Greetings folks, and I hope your Cavorite is fully functional wherever you are in collecting land. And welcome back to the channel for another 1/6 scale figure unboxing and review. And today we're turning back the clock to a time when stop motion animation was cutting edge and Mr. Go Figure was just a glint in his father's eye. Yes folks, it's Star Racer's take on, well, I'm not really sure who, but we'll get to that, from the 1964 Nathan Juran directed movie First Men in the Moon, based on the book by H.G. Wells, and of course with production design and special effects by the legend that is Ray Harryhausen. Usual format folks, it'll be box, then we'll take a look at the accessories, then a close-up with a figure, and then the showcase at the end. But before we dive in, I'd like to send a moon sphere size shout out to everyone who supported the channel. And please drop a like on this review as it helps other people find Go Figure. And if you haven't already, be sure to hit that subscribe button and bell notification icon so you don't miss any of the 1/6 scale figures that we've got coming up for review. So, regulars to the channel will know my passion for retro science fiction and horror, and although it's not as well known as War of the Worlds or The Time Machine, First Men in the Moon is still a classic H.G. Wells. And the movie itself, it was low budget, but it's still a classic of Ray Harryhausen's work, and a showcase of the amazing leaps forward and the influence that he had on special effects in the movies. And it's worth the price of admission alone just for Lionel Jeffries' hilarious turn as Joseph Cavor. But enough of my retro reminiscing, onto the box. Let's stop it from spinning and have a quick look. Now I've got to say, I don't have, in fact I've only got one other Star Race figure in the collection. It's the Steve McQueen from The Great Escape, so this is only my second foray into Star Race. And we'll get the elephant in the room out of the way first of all. Let's say they aren't known for their consistency of quality. I think that's being kind, but yeah, I don't think we're ever going to see this kind of figure from this movie ever again, so I went all in. But yeah, let's take a look at the box. Let's get this turntable out of the way and have a quick look at the box. Box itself is very straightforward. It's just a plain box. There's no slip covers or anything like that here, but the card itself is nice stock. You've got a shot of the figure on the front there, and yes folks, he is in a diving suit. If you haven't seen the film, check it out. It says Ray Harryhausen's First Men in the Moon, 1/6 scale collectible figure. It says Harryhausen at the bottom there, 1964. And as collectors will know, Star Race have had this license from the Harryhausen family and foundation for quite some time and be giving us all manner of figures from his movies. So this is just one in a line of those figures. But yeah, the box itself is quite nicely presented. You've got these stripes on the side. It says Star Race at the top there. All the aspects of the myth that was Harryhausen. You've got 100 years at the bottom here and the First Men in the Moon. These aren't stamps or stickers. These are actually just printed straight onto the card. Around the side, you have a history of the legend himself, Mr. Harryhausen. If you're wanting to read that, please feel free to hit pause, and it tells you everything you need to know about his career and his impact. Around the other side, it's a breakdown of the movie itself, a brief description of the movie. It says First Men in the Moon there as well. On the back, another shot of the figure itself, and all the usual warnings and credits at the bottom there. Don't piss this figure off, or the Sellerites might come to get you. Starfield in the background. On the top just says First Men in the Moon, 1/6 scale collectible figure, and more warnings and so on the bottom there. Now this comes in two boxes. We'll just actually quickly bring out the other box. It comes in two boxes because this is the Deluxe edition, which comes with a diorama base. This box is exactly the same as this box, apart from the cardstock that's been used and this brown scale that they've used on the front to print it, but everything else is exactly the same. So, brand new figure, this literally just come through the door, so let's do as we always do. Let's break those seals open, let's dive down onto the table and have a look at all the accessories that you get with your figure. Okay folks, so accessories out. What do you get with your First Men in the Moon figure? Well, basically everything on the left of the instructions is the Deluxe set. This is the extra box. Everything on the right hand side is what comes with the standard edition. And if you get the deluxe set, you get everything thrown in. But yeah, well, we'll start with the mundane stuff first. You get a single sheet set of instructions, which are nice to see, on how to set the figure up. So if you need those, they're there. Let's start with the standard edition. We'll start with the base. You get this, well, it's a relatively simple base. It's just a single piece of plastic. Nothing too fancy going on here. You've got to remember as well that Star Race figures come in at a price point. They aren't the most expensive figures in the world. We're not talking in art or Hot Toys price point here. So please remember that when you're looking at the figure. But yeah, it's a very simple single piece of plastic there with a hole for the flight pole, and on the front it says First Man in the Moon in the logo from the movie, which has been printed on there. Yeah, it's not bad. I've seen worse. I quite like it actually, but yeah, that's your standard base, and as I say, comes with a flight pole as well, which screws in. Now, this flight pole, slightly different to normal flight poles. The variation here is on this piece at the end. This actually slots up the back of the figure. Rather than having a crotch grabber or a waist grabber going on, you've got this little sort of hook type solution which slots into the outfit itself. But we'll take a look at that when we bring the figure out. So yeah, that's the flight pole and the standard stand. You get a pair of swap out hands. We'll have a quick look at these. There's a pair already on the figure. We'll take a look at those when we bring it out. Yeah, this is where the price point shows a little bit in the quality of the hands. They aren't the best in the world, as you can see. They're very, very simplistic. There is an attempt at veining and bone structure in there, and there's some creasing on the knuckles. There's some sculpting in fingernails. There's creasing in the palms there, but the paint applications aren't brilliant. There's more than one. There's 2 or 3 paint applications on there, so if the light's catching this, there's some speckling on the backs of the hands. But overall, yeah, they're not appalling. I have seen worse, believe me. However, these are not the best hands in the world. We'll do the flexibility test. Yeah, we've got a hard to medium here. And these are 2 relaxed hands. As I say, we'll take a look at the others when we bring the figure out. So, spare pair of hands. And you also get this. Now, this has bemused Mr. Go Figure. Ray gun, maybe. Now, this doesn't figure in the film, as far as I'm aware. I'm nearly as old as the film, so my memory may be failing me, but I do revisit it regularly, and I have never seen this in the movie. I've never seen a ray gun in the film. So this edition is a little odd. However, it's relatively nicely sculpted. It's all one piece of plastic. There's been some silver dry brushing on there to give it that sort of used look, and it's got that metallic paint application as well. But yeah, overall, a little bit of an odd inclusion, as I say. I mean, if they wanted to be more sort of screen accurate in keeping with the film, Star Race maybe should have included an elephant gun, because that's what they take to the moon with them. And at no point do they come across a ray gun. But yeah, unusual, odd choice there from Star Race. But moving swiftly on. Okay, so the deluxe set, what do you get? Well, basically, it is this rather nice diorama base. Let's get this thing in shot. We'll start with the main section of the base itself. It's meant to represent the sphere as it's landed on the moon. It's made out of plastic. It feels like hollow plastic. It's not ridiculously heavy, but it's got some heft to it. We'll start off underneath. Underneath, you've got First Man in the Moon. It says Ray Harryhausen across the top there, and the serial number for the figure. Great to see 4 large felt pads attached to the bottom of this particular piece, especially considering the height of the flight pole and balancing this, so it's not going to shift around too much in the display. That's great to see. On the top, as I mentioned, you've got the hatch section to the sphere itself, and it's done quite nicely. It's pretty good sculpting. I wouldn't say it's groundbreaking. But the moon rock effect areas around the front and the back are really nicely done. If a little soft in the sculpting. The paint applications are okay. It does come off a little bit plasticine-y, if that makes sense, around the back here, but as I say, we're working to a price point. But there's been an attempt to paint in the crevices there. There's washers and dry brushing, and the eagle-eyed amongst you will notice that there is a jack plug socket at the back there for a light-up feature, which we'll take a look at when we bring the figure out. But yeah, the actual the hatch section, the top section of the sphere itself, is really nicely done. To give it that sort of wrought iron look. You've got rivets in there, you've got silver dry brushing, There are a number of different paint washes going on in here. We've got some browns, we've got some deeper browns, light browns. There's texturing on there, there's dinks, there's scratches, there's chips going on, and overall, I think for the price point, I think Star Race have done a pretty good job here. And you've got these gold sections as well, which I think are meant to represent the windows with the blinds in, which is how they steer it when it's being painted with Cavorite. But yeah, overall, I think, as I say, for the price point, I think they've done a pretty good job here. So that's the base. Now, to go with the base, you also get this mini sphere. Now, obviously, this has been shrunk down. This would carry 3 people in the movie itself, but it's just very, very well done. The proportions look on point for the size. The detailing is really, really nice. All one piece of sculpted plastic. It's hollow plastic, actually. And once again, you've got those browns on there indicating rust. All the rivets are picked out. Those sort of off goals, those weathered goals for the blind sections are really nicely done. You've got the windows in the side, which are blacked out. And I think Star Race have done a really, really nice job here of capturing the look and feel of the sphere itself. Now, I believe this actually nestles in this section here of the diorama, so you can have it sat at the back there and almost looking like it's off in the distance. It's a bit odd, I suppose, because you've got the main hatch in full 1/6 scale and then this in the background, but I think it adds to it. So yeah, overall, it's a thumbs up on that base. I'm liking that base a lot. To go with that base, we'll just pop that to one side. Obviously, you get the USB cable to wire up the light up feature. You also get a Union Jack, because obviously the first men in the moon are Brits. Now, in the film itself, it's a much smaller Union Jack that they actually take to the moon with them. But I like the idea of scaling it up, and I believe there is a slot in this rather splendid diorama base for this to sit. But we will find that when we bring the figure out. So that's the accessories, folks. So without further ado, let's bring out the figure itself. Let's get him onto this fantastic diorama, get him onto the turntable, and have a close-up look at him. Okay, folks, so here he is. It's Arnold Bedford. Well, I'm going to call him Arnold Bedford, but we'll get onto that head sculpt in a moment. So yeah, all tooled up onto the turntable. First impressions, I've got to say, first impressions are pretty good. He's not attached to that flight pole, and there's a reason for that, but we'll cover that. But overall, yeah, first impressions very good. Proportions look good. I think the figure works well with the base. The outfit looks on point. We will cover that. But I mean, as people who know the movie and know the book, know that H.G. Wells actually set the book in 1899. The movie itself was made in 1964, 5 years before the first moon landing in '69. It was made in conjunction with NASA, and there are some interesting references to NASA at the beginning of the film where we see the more the late 60s spacesuit. But H.G. Wells envisaged this spacesuit more of a sort of adapted diving suit, and I think Star Race have captured that really well. But we will take a look at the details as we always do. Let's stop him from spinning and get him off this rather nice stand. We'll also take a look at the light up feature as well, but having him spinning would cause wire problems, so we'll take a look at that momentarily. So yeah, first impression's pretty good, but we'll get him off this stand and get up close. We'll start at the bottom as we always do and work our way up. Now, boots. Sculpted plastic boots, and they are that super thin plastic that you see with the slightly less expensive figures, shall we say. And these have been directly attached pegged into the legs. Now, there are no feet in these boots, and it's not my favourite solution, I have to admit, because it decreases stability. Star Race are obviously wanting you to use this flight pole, but as I say, we'll cover that. But so if you're not wanting to use that and you want him freestanding, you're gonna have issues here because, as I say, soft plastic and no feet in there, so the pegs go directly into the boots themselves. The boots themselves aren't too badly sculpted. You've got a nice attention to detail in there. Sculpted laces are going on. You've got some weathering on the front of the boots and around the sides and the back. Not much by the way of tread, although there is some on the heel there. But yeah, they're that sort of flimsy, cheap plastic that, Doesn't feel very secure at all, and because of the way they're pegged in, you get this really loose movement going on. Not much forward and backward, obviously, because there's no split cut boot design, but yeah, that's not it's not Mr. Go Figure's favourite of solutions, this, and when these drop off, they have a tendency to drop off permanently. But yeah, moving up to the suit itself. Now the suit itself is actually quite nicely done. Made out of what feels like a cotton material. The stitch work is very nice, as you can see in the sides there. There's no loose threads hanging down. And overall, I think the actual diving suit itself is nicely done. The body underneath here is padded, sort of from the knees up, right the way through the waist here, through the abdomen section, and the chest and the back. Not the arms though, so I'm assuming they've taken the stock body here and padded it out a little bit, because what you've got here is a very thin cotton suit, and directly over the body it would look off, it would look goofy. But we'll have a quick look at the articulation. Super stiff joints here. You've got what feels like I wouldn't say it's a ratchet joint, but there is a joint in there. I'm not sure what type it is, but yeah, it'll get you back to almost 45 degrees. You've got to take into account that there is a suit underneath here as well, so that's going to limit articulation. You've got some movement at the top of the leg there, at the hip area, and there's a bit of leg spread as well, but that's limited by that crotch area and the stitching. So there is some articulation in there. There's not much in the way of ab crunch or waist movement. There's a little bit there, there's a little bit of give, but not much, as you'd expect with that bodysuit underneath. Moving up to the chest area. Now the detailing here I really like. I think Star Race have done a good job. You've got those sort of gauntlet sections on the wrist there. The stitch work is really nice. I am assuming these are sculpted plastic, although they do have a pleather sort of feel to them. But the colour's right, the stitch work is good. These are the alternate hands, the gripping hands that we talked about in the accessories section. Yeah, not the best quality in the world, but there is some detailing in there. The chest section itself, you've got the weight around his neck. Now, it's not solid. It would be nice to have, it's a little bit hollow around the back, but it's a diver's weight, which they use to counteract the effects of the lack of gravity on the moon itself. And it's not badly sculpted. The front area here is plastic. This rope going through is plastic, it's sculpted in, but the actual rope that attaches it to the helmet and to the and that hangs down is actually proper cord. It's sort of like a string that's been weathered. The weight itself has got some weathering on there. There is sort of a brown dry brushing to give it that sort of rusted look, and overall I think they've done a good job there with that weight. The strapping to hold the oxygen cylinder on the back is nicely done. I am assuming this is pleather at this price point, but it's got some nice buckles on there, and the straps run around the back that have been weathered. There's some brown weathering going on, and the oxygen tank itself sits in the back with this Velcro canvas section wrapped around it. You have to put this in when it comes out of the box. It's not already in there. No real weathering on the plastic cylinder itself, but the detailing is nice. You've got some brass effect paint applications on the valves at the top there. The hose itself that runs down to the helmet is rubber. It's a hollow rubber hose and feels quite sturdily attached. And onto the diver's helmet itself, I'm going to bring this in as close as I can here and see if we can alter this light so you can see the detailing here. Now, there is no articulation in the head area simply because of the nature of this helmet, so you're not going to get any movement out of it. It would maybe be nice to have seen this section detachable here so you can get to the head sculpt, but it is what it is, and as we mentioned before here, we're working to a price point. But the paint applications on the helmet section itself are really nice with this sort of brass effect paint, and there's weathering on there, there's dry brushing, the detailing has been picked out in those rivets with silver paint. You've got dinks and bumps and scratches and black washes on there to pick out that detailing. Around the side you've got the valves at the back, and that's on the other side as well. If you're flipping around there, you can see these they don't function, but you've got the detailed valves on the back as well, and once again more scratches and dinks and weathering there. If the camera's catching up, just bring him down a little bit so you can see that. And you've got these mirrored sections in the side in keeping with a diver's helmet of the time. So the head sculpt, now this is what I mentioned at the beginning there is weathering on the front of this screen as well, which is nice to see. As I said, it would have been nice to see this detachable here, so maybe unscrewed so you could get to that head sculpt, but we're going to talk about the head sculpt and why I would like to get to it. So yeah, when I first saw the first shots of this figure, the first thing that crossed my mind is that Star Race couldn't get the license for the likeness of Lionel Jeffries or Edward Judd, who played Arnold Bedford in the movie, so that they've gone with something similar but not quite there. There's no way that's Arnold Bedford. In actual fact, what I'll do is I will put up a picture here in the top left hand corner so you can see what Arnold Bedford actually looked like, Edward Judd the actor. And yeah, I think what Star Race here have done is found something in a box that's similar. So let's say, I mean, we can let Star Race off here, as they probably couldn't get the likeness or the license to the likeness of either of those two actors. They may have the Harryhausen license, but actors' licenses sometimes come separately. So yeah, I would have liked to have seen access to this diver's helmet. And maybe be able to swap out the head sculpts. I would love to put a Lionel Jeffries head sculpt in there. That would be my dream. If there's anybody out there who makes custom head sculpts who could do a Lionel Jeffries, get in touch. I would be fascinated to get one. It would be accessing this that would be an issue. Although this whole section at the top here it does feel like it's free floating, so it might come off. I'm sure there'd be a way around it. Maybe having to detach the helmet underneath here. As I say, it would have been nice to see the helmet come off, but overall, yeah, taking into account the fact that the person in there isn't from the movie, and there are only two of them that actually left the sphere and explored the moon. So yeah, it's a shame. It's a shame that likeness lets it down, but yeah, that's the figure. So let's pop him back on that stand, get him turning again and going for a final verdict on this guy. So it's verdict time on Star Racer's take on First Man in the Moon, or First Men in the Moon. I have dimmed the lighting a little bit here, although we have got some bright sunlight outside. I've dimmed it so we can take a look at the light up feature in the base briefly. Before we pass verdict on this guy. As I mentioned before, there's a jack plug that goes into the back here, and if the light is allowing us to see this, it sort of lights up around this area, around the back here. There's obviously some LEDs going on here, and yeah, perhaps this is not the best light to see it in, but they are quite bright and they're quite effective. The extent underneath the sphere at this side here as well, so if you've got incomplete darkness, it does give off a bit of light. It's not the best feature in the world, although what I did notice was that light, and I'm not sure the camera will catch this, but that there is some light bleed at the front here as well, so it might have been a good idea to leave some more gaps in the actual sculpt of the base itself, and it would have allowed that quite bright LED light to bleed all the way through. But no, unfortunately, yeah, it's a nice touch, but it's not that impactful, and regulars to the channel will know Mr. Go Figure is not a massive one for light up features on his figures. So let's bring those lights back up a little bit so we can have a proper final verdict on this guy. And as well, it's worth noting at this point the reason why I am not using the actual flight pole. We'll take a quick look at that actually. Now the flight pole itself, we'll spin this guy around so you can see it. The flight pole at the back, let's just take him off so you can see the solution that Star Race have come up with here. Just need to move this this oxygen tank up a little bit. Now there's a little sort of sewn in flap here that's closed on three sides, which is where you are supposed to slot this section here. And I'll just show you for argument's sake. Let's just pop him on here. It's not the best solution in the world. So when you hook him on there, that is, as you can see, it is probably the least stable thing, and he's wanting to fall off that I have ever seen. Not only does it pull at the back of that outfit there, and I can't see that stitching lasting any real length of time if you decide to pose him in the display like this. And yeah, he leans forward. I mean, you could tip this, let's try and tip this flight pole back a little bit and see if we can't get it. Then the whole thing becomes a little bit top heavy, and yeah, as you can see there, yeah, it's not a great solution. In fact, this whole thing's going to fall over. So, yeah, I am not too impressed with this this floating flight pole solution. And as well, the flight pole here doesn't screw in. The tolerances on the bottom of the flight pole aren't very good, so it's loose. So this whole thing is just a little bit too. There we go. Will he stay on? No. It's a nice idea. But it's not particularly well executed. There we go. We've got him in some relatively stationary position. So yeah, you can go with that look if you want to. It doesn't really work for me. If they were going to do this, I would have preferred a different solution. It's not quite there, and the way it sits at the back, you can with some futzing get that sort of lack of gravity look if you're wanting to go for it in the display, but I'm going to go with him standing on here. So final verdict on this guy. Well, where to start? We'll start with the good stuff. The base itself, although it's a little bit soft in sculpt and paint applications, it's got some nice ideas going on there. It looks impressive. There is a certain level of screen accuracy there, and I do love this little sphere at the back here. I think that's great. And the addition of the Union Jack. Being a Brit, it makes me proud. So, other good stuff. The proportions of the figure, really, really well done. That suit, excellent. Very screen accurate. Liking the materials they've used there. Liking the weathering on the diver's helmet. The oxygen tank, very, very well done. And overall, an impressive looking piece. Downsides. We mentioned the softness in the sculpt and the and paint applications on the base. The main part of the base, that LED feature, is a little bit of a nothingness really when it comes down to it. The feet, the cheapness of the plastic on those boots, and the fact that there's no feet in the boots there doesn't really give you the option for any kind of poses or stable poses without this flight pole. So I might be swapping that out. The head sculpt, really. It would have been nice to have seen Star Race get the license for either of the two actors, but it is what it is, and I will be trying to seek out a Lionel Jeffries head sculpt to finish this off perfectly, and maybe finding some way of detaching that helmet. So, yeah, it's a mixed bag, this one. There's a lot of nice ideas here. We've got to remember as well that this comes in at a price point, as I mentioned at the top there. Not the most expensive figure in the world, and you can see that. There are corners here that have been cut to save on cash. However, even with all that, taking all that into consideration, I do like it. As I said at the top, big fan of retro sci-fi. I think the film itself is a great piece of fun, hilarious in places, or much of that down to the performance of Lionel Jeffries. And I think this is a cracking little piece. If you are a fan of Harryhausen, if you're a fan of retro science fiction, H.G. Wells, then you could do a lot worse than add this to your collection. But always remember, it's at a price point and it is not without its faults. So I'm going to give this an overall score of, and this is a tough one, because as regulars to the channel will know, I'm always trying to balance price point against product. However, I'm going to give this a 7, maybe a 7.5. I think there are some areas here where it could have been improved that wouldn't have really impacted vastly on the cost. So yeah, we'll give it a, we'll go with the 7.5. No, we'll stick with the 7. I'm feeling like it should be a 7. So there you have it, folks. That is Star Racer's take, and it could possibly be of Arnold Bedford from the 60s movie First Men in the Moon. What are your thoughts on this piece? Are you a fan of the film? Are you a fan of Wells? Are you a fan of Star Race? I would be fascinated to hear your take on this piece. So please drop a comment in the comment section below. Nothing is off menu. So what have we got coming up on the channel? Well, in the not too distant future, we have a rather special piece. I'm not going to give too much away, but it's a highly anticipated new figure. That's coming in very soon. We've got figures from Hot Toys, from InArt, from Susu Toys, Present Toys, Caustic Plastic, Exo 6, Iconic Studios. The list is endless, so as I mentioned at the top there, be sure to hit that subscribe button and bell notification icon so you're not missing anything. We've got episodes of Grail or Fail, we've got tours, we've got showcases and retro reviews as well. So there's a raft of stuff coming up. And I suppose all it remains for me to say is from myself and from the first men in the moon, a massive thank you for watching. As always, I hope this review's been useful for you. Take care of yourselves, and until next time on the channel, happy collecting, and it's over to the showcase.